Welcome back to SCV. Today, Vanessa Wilk is joining me.
I am.
Tammy's is out today, so I'm very happy to have you here.
I'm happy to be here.
Have you, where do you stand when it comes to like the spiritual realm and mediums and things like this?
Well, I'm a Christian. I believe that God's in control. And I think that everything is up to God's will.
Okay. I'm with you.
I think I have no control over anything or my destiny or anything.
Do you think it's already been determined of what's going to happen in your life?
I do. I think that through prayer, God answers prayer.
Okay.
But I think that God is big, and He loves us, and He's in control.
Okay. Okay. I'm with you on that. Good. Okay. Well, let's bring in Sandi Armstrong. She is a spiritual advisor. I got that right?
Yes.
And a medium.
Yes.
Not a psychic.
Well, it makes me a psychic, but I'm a medium.
You're a medium.
Yeah.
Okay. Sandi's got an event coming up on February 1st.
Yes.
At the Holiday Inn Express here in Santa Clarita. And we wanted to talk a little bit about what it is exactly that you do as a medium. And so if someone were to go to the event at the Holiday Inn Express on February 1st, what they could expect from that event.
Well, it's called a gallery, and when I do a gallery, it depends how many people are there. Not everybody does get read, but they get to experience other people being read. And I do anything from past, present, and future, but being a medium means that I can communicate with people that have crossed over, whether they're pets or people, and sometimes people say, well, that person's still living, but I always say that energy never dies. So sometimes it's hard to tell the difference if they're here or not. So sometimes I just wait for their loved ones to tell me, no, we are not here, we have crossed over. So that's...
So do you feel the presence of those who are crossed over, or do you feel the presence of those who are affecting the life of the person that you are reading?
Well, I feel both, and if people could see what I would see, people would freak out, and because I always say that it's like a reflection. You know how you look at a TV screen when it's off, but you can see the reflection? That's how I see the dead. And people always say, well, if you see them all the time, how do you turn it off? And I always like to say that, you know how we're in a group of people right here, right now, and everybody's talking, but you and I are having a one-on-one, but we're able to tune everybody out. So it's the same thing. And it's also very important to have boundaries, because I have to say, I'm not working right now. I'm with somebody, I don't want to hear it. But there are times, like I actually had an episode with a butcher at the Stevenson's Ranch, Albertsons, where his passed over grandfather would not leave me alone. So every so often I'll have, my friends call me Teresa, So I had a Teresa moment where I had no choice. I had to give him a mini reading right there, because I did not want his grandfather coming home with me. Because they tend to...
I'm going to tell you, this is a little freaky.
I know.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. So I had to give him a little mini reading. He thought he was on candid camera, that this was a joke, or his girlfriend set me up. I'm like, I don't know you from a hole in the wall. So I had to give it to him. He ended up, tearing up and, doing a little freak out. Then I had a few clients from Albertsons, which was kind of cool.
Wow.
But I don't like to do that, because I don't want to put myself upon people in that way, but sometimes I don't have the choice.
When did you first discover this ability, this talent,
well,
whatever it is?
believe it or not, every single human being has it. It's called intuition. They just don't listen to it half the time. But I've had this, all my life. I was just crazy enough to listen to it and say, hey, who are you? And so more or less I just kind of excelled in it. Everybody, can play the piano. We just have to work at it. Some of us aren't as natural as Beethoven. So it's the same thing. Everybody here can actually do what I'm doing. It's just going to take time, patience, and faith. And I'm glad you brought up about the Christian thing, because I am a Christian, and a lot of people say, well, if you're Christian, how can you be doing this? And I do tell them, it's in the Bible. I don't know where, but I know that it is, that people have certain abilities to help others. And I do work with God. I work with the light. I work with Christ. I work with angels, people's loved ones. I do protect people with God, in my little silent prayer that I do, like I did with you today. But I know that I have a purpose here, because, I have worked with a family from parents and murdered children. I did... that was rewarding and stuff, but I know I have it to help people, and it's very, it's rewarding to see people's reaction, especially when they hear from somebody that has crossed over, whether it was violently or not. So just to watch them and be a part of that is priceless to me.
I have a question. Okay, so you hear from people who have passed on.
Yes, I hear them.
Do you
see 'em.
also see into the future?
Yeah, I do. My specialty, I guess you could say, is speaking with people that have crossed over. But yes, I can do, past, present, and future. But I always tell people, we have free will even in our death. As you know, God gives us free will. So everything that we can do can change. I could say that you're going to win the lottery tomorrow, but then you can decide to go play in traffic and, get run over or something. So therefore, you changed your course of your future. But it's also a little hypocritical, I guess, because I do believe that everything is set in stone, but we can also have choices. So it's kind of like, I'm even on the fence with that too, and that's what I do. But
Well, with me, we'll get into this here because you talked about my future
yes,
and a possible future,
yes,
and you could see me in a certain way.
Yes,
I don't
I
think
can.
so. I think to answer your question, based on what you said with me, it was not, Dave, you're going to win the lottery on January 23rd of 2020. No, she didn't do that, but she just said, I see you developing so much more in your career, and she says, right now you're at the top of your game, which is true. I have to say, I think things have happened in the last 6 months that never would have happened before. But let me tell you, there was one thing that Sandi said when we did our thing. She talked about, she was very quiet, and then she said, you had a dog that was very dear to you. Yes. She went to this point. She said, it's about this high. And you said, and I'm going to say what she said. You had to put the dog down suddenly, and I'm sensing that there was something in her back legs that was the problem. We got a dog when my son was 6. Turned into a German Shepherd Golden Retriever mix.
Oh, what a great man.
And was the greatest dog I have ever had in my entire life. At the age of 12, she developed cancer in her anal glands, which is obviously in the back hindquarters. We tried surgery, we did what we could, and then all of a sudden just took a turn. So I made the decision to put her to sleep and was there when it happened. And Sandi is telling me now that Sheba loved me very much and is now confused as to why that had to happen. And you're saying, and tell me in your words.
To make an amends, because when you took her to go get, fixed and, like she took a turn for the worse, she didn't understand, because you were very optimistic that everything's going to be fine, she's going to come home and she's going to be all better, but it didn't happen, and then she was gone.
See, and the thing, and Mike came in just as this was happening, because I was like, what? Oh my God, I can't believe it. Because she nailed all of those things. I got chills right now as I'm thinking about it. I didn't talk about that. And Mike actually came in because I said, Mike, you won't believe what just happened. I'm going to have to tell you when it's on the show. But oh my God, it's incredible. And Mike even said, okay, could you do some research? Did you know that he had a dog? How could she have known those things? I'm just asking that question. I don't know how you could have known.
How does he make amends when you said
You can
he
make a
needs
living amends. He can just telepathically say, hey, Sheba, I'm really sorry, because our loved ones do hear us, whether you've met them or not, because I've done readings where, well, I didn't meet my great-grandfather. It doesn't matter. If they're a part of your family, whether it's blood or not, they are aware of our everyday lives. It's not like they're watching us all the time, but they are aware. And especially our pets and everything else. But you can make a living amends by just telepathically writing it down or just saying, hey, Sheba, I'm really sorry. You can just look up at the, however you want. There's no right or wrong way to do it. But she just wants to understand, she obviously knows that, Dave loved her and everything, but she just wants to, just to hear it. Not that I'm sorry. It's not that she's resentful or angry or anything like that. She just wants to know that Dave knows that she was a little confused and a little, hurt by it. Just say, hey, I'm sorry, but we did the best that we could. I love you. And she is with him. She's not with him all the time, but she is with him. And I did tell him, you may hear this. That was her nails, because she was very particular. She was actually a little nervous. And I know that if Dave thinks about it, if you touch her paw, she'd be like a little like, oh, you're going to cut me, or I don't really like that. Even though she completely trusted him. But you know how women, even female animals, can be very particular, and that's how she was too. But they communicate.
When she was a younger pup, her claws grew out, and we got those clippers and clipped them, and it one time bled. So that obviously had an impact.
Yes.
Being a new crazy dog person, my heart, seriously, before I would have been like, oh yeah, whatever. But now my heart's going this for you.
The thing is, just to let you know, when you have pets, you don't have any privacy. You have no secrets. They know everything. I actually did a reading one time, and I can say this. They had this dog named Bentley, and I walked into the house, and it was actually in Simi Valley that I did a reading there. The dog came in, and he told on his parents, like his family, his owners, his people. They were doing this, they were doing that. He would not shut up.
Wow.
It's like he could not wait to tell on them, well, they do this, and blah, 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 He just went on this whole tangent about them, and of course, she was mortified, like, how dare you, And it was, it was very silly and stuff, but you don't have secrecy, you don't have privacy. They can even hear your thoughts, because I did a reading one time where people were thinking about, I think we need to get a new dog because this one dog is kind of getting sick. They were devastated. So I always say that if you're going to have conversations like that, have it outside the house, or just let them know, we're not replacing you. We love you. We're here for you, because they need closure and they need acceptance just as much as we do.
So on February 1st.
Yes.
At the Holiday Inn Express here in Santa Clarita.
Yes. That's
when you're going to be having your event. Do you have contact information that people can go to be able to get more information about the event?
They can go to my website at closureandacceptance.com and go to the events page, and it tells you the price and everything. People do need to RSVP because we're only having a certain number of seats. That way everybody has some form of chance or whatnot. It's also a way for people to experience, other people being read, because it is, some people get more out of that,
right,
than anything else. So they
well,
can just go to the
I can
website.
attest to it right now. I mean, that was an amazing thing that happened, and it was just a quick thing. We had people coming in and out, miking us up, and doing all this stuff, and so I can attest right now. If that's something that you are wanting to do, definitely February 1st. That's great. Sandi Armstrong, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it. Are you going to get a reading now? I think Bjorkman is.
I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I'm going to go hide my dogs, so she doesn't say anything.
When we come back, Mike Bjorkman is going to be on to talk real estate in Santa Clarita, so please stay tuned.